There's no denying that WWE has a massive talent pool to call upon from its NXT developmental territory, but as we all know, success in NXT doesn't guarantee success on the main roster. Join us now as WrestleLamia looks at wrestlers who Vince McMahon has soured on, and those he wants to push. Let's start with those he soured on. Number 1. EC3. Former two-time TNA World Champion Ethan Carter III, better known as EC3, flopped as Derek Bateman in the WWE, but enjoyed considerable success playing Dixie Carter's storyline nephew during his time in TNA/Impact Wrestling. His success there led to many predicting he'll do well in the WWE, beginning with a run in NXT. However, EC3 didn't get much time working in NXT and was called up in 2019, less than only a year after starting in NXT. A victory over Dean Ambrose was seen as more of a way to punish Ambrose for leaving the WWE than as a push for EC3. His supposed big win did nothing to get him over, and he quickly started the road to Jobberdom, including frequent appearances at live events, Counting the Lights, and high-profile beatdowns such as when Braun Strowman chokeslammed him through the staging arena on Raw. It's well believed that EC3 is on Vince McMahon's hit list, but no one seems to know why. Former TNA figure Dixie Carter tweeted, "EC3 is just so cool and stands out from the others, even when he stands outside a ring." Could it be EC3 is another Impact star that Vince wants to embarrass in order to make the WWE look good, or is there another reason? Either way, EC3's WWE career is suffering and no one seems to know the exact reason why. Number 2. Nikki Cross. There's no word that Nikki Cross is in the WWE doghouse for anything, but judging from her push, or more specifically her few appearances on Raw and her limited roles when she does show up, Vince McMahon isn't high on her as a performer. Cross enjoyed success as a member of NXT faction Sanity, but didn't jump to the main roster when the rest of Sanity did in 2018. Considering how poorly Sanity performed on SmackDown Live, that's probably a good thing. Nonetheless, she hasn't done anything of note on Raw. It's arguable whether it's easier to get lost in the crowd if you're a male superstar as opposed to a female superstar, as both rosters are packed with talent. However, there's no denying that Cross needs to find a way to stand out in the WWE. The problem is that it's difficult to do so when your appearances are so rare and the boss hasn't even given you a proper chance yet. Number 3. The Viking Experience. Big and burly, the War Raiders seemed like a good fit for either SmackDown or Raw, providing the sheer power and size that Vince McMahon likes in his wrestlers. Things got off to a bumpy start when the WWE changed the team's name to the Viking Experience, with some fans wondering if the WWE was branching out in the amusement park business. Despite the name change, it looked as if the team was going to win the Raw Tag Team Championship from the Hype Brothers, but instead the Revival won the belts and the Viking Experience have been missing in action, possibly sailing back home to Scandinavia. Number 4. Heavy Machinery. Another beefy team, Heavy Machinery earned a reputation for their rough and tumble tactics in NXT, and while the team failed to win the NXT Tag Team Championship, they did earn the fans' respect as a team that was not to be trifled with. Otis Dozovich and Tucker Knight debuted on Raw in January 2019, just 2 of the 6 NXT superstars who were hyped prior to their debut. Like many of their NXT call-ups, the team was tweaked, with their names shortened to Otis and Tucker, but no significant push behind them. The team was moved to SmackDown Live during the Superstar Shakeup, but has yet to show any sign of life on the blue brand, with some fans speculating they could go the way of Sanity, a promising team on NXT who hit the skids as soon as they debuted on the main roster. Like Sanity, there's no rhyme or reason as to why McMahon soured on the team, and we wonder why a team would be called up just to be jobbed with no effort to test their viability. Number 5. Braun Strowman. In some ways, Braun Strowman is the polar opposite of Roman Reigns, a big man who's still over with the WWE Universe despite a lack of a push. Like Roman Reigns, the monster among men was initially given a huge push by WWE, but he actually got over, whereas Roman Reigns struggled to connect with the fans. Even when the WWE stopped pushing Strowman, he still remained popular with the fans, whether it was a heel or a babyface. Sadly, Vince McMahon refuses to get behind this former NXT blue chipper, with various theories being posited on why McMahon has turned on Strowman. Initially, there were rumors that Strowman had backstage heat due to showing up late for shows and leaving early. However, PW insiders Mike Johnson disputed this, claiming, "So again, Braun is not dealing with any heat. He's not being booked to be punished for anything, and like everyone else who goes out and performs in the wrestling ring, he deserves better than to have stories that aren't rooted in reality reported about him." Backstage heat or not, it's believed Vince McMahon has soured on him, leaving a potential main eventer floating between the mid-card and upper card for no specific reason. And number 6, Luke Harper. Strowman's Wyatt family partner in villainy is a talented big man, and while he's not as big as Strowman, he has a fierce look that makes him a natural heel. Regrettably, Harper's career has stumbled since the WWE broke up the Wyatt family back in 2017. He staged a comeback alongside Eric Rowan as the Bludgeon Brothers until their mutual injury shelved them from several months, ending Harper's momentum. Vince McMahon seems to have given up on Harper, with the Wrestling Observer reporting that McMahon doesn't get Harper's gimmick, doesn't think Harper can speak in a convincing southern accent, and that both McMahon and WWE creatives soured on Harper after seeing his return match. But those are some he soured on. What about the people he likes and wants to push? Number 1. KAIRI SANE. Considering the WWE's treatment of Asian wrestlers ranging from Asuka to Shinsuke Nakamura, it's difficult to say what Vince McMahon sees in KAIRI SANE. Besides her obvious talent, something both Asuka and Nakamura have an abundance of, yet receive stunted pushes. Nonetheless, things are looking good for her as she's been paired with Asuka, with hints that they will be challenging for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. It's always difficult to tell how seriously the WWE is about any belt, but if it pushes the women's tag titles like it has the women's singles, there's a good chance it could highlight the many talented women performing, including KAIRI SANE. Number 2. Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans has benefited from a strong push since her main roster debut at the 2019 Royal Rumble, which saw her enter the Women's Royal Rumble first, lasting an incredible 29 minutes before being eliminated. It's clear that Vince McMahon sees her as a star as she's embroiled in the WWE's Raw Women's Championship program against champion Becky Lynch, and has been a constant presence on Raw. Evans is the type of larger-than-life personality that Vince McMahon likes to see in all his superstars, which is probably why she's found favour at Titan Tower. But not everyone is a fan, including wrestling's curmudgeon Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer. He said, "I know Lacey Evans is new and fresh and all that, but I don't have confidence in her and Becky Lynch having a match. I think that I know that people backstage aren't much higher on Lacey Evans than the fans are, and I think that's going to be a lot like Baron Corbin. Hopefully she does better than Baron Corbin. She probably won't do as well as Baron Corbin, honestly." Number 3. Aleister Black. Another charismatic individual is Aleister Black, whose NXT career saw him win the NXT Championship, as well as 3 NXT Year-End Awards in 2017 as number 1, Male Competitor of the Year, number 2, Breakout Star of the Year, and Rivalry of the Year. This was his program against Velveteen Dream. When Vince McMahon felt the WWE roster was stale, Black was one of those superstars he brought in, hoping to revive the company's ratings. He was featured regularly on both Raw and SmackDown Live, until finally being settled at SmackDown Live. Although Black was not allowed to attend Super Showdown due to what was seen as occult tattoos on his body, that reportedly hasn't affected what's expected to be a successful run in 2019. Number 4. The Revival. There's no denying Vince McMahon likes the Revival. The problem is that he sometimes has a funny way of showing it. Sometimes it seems as if Vinnie Mac feels a wrestler or tag team should be happy just working for him, regardless of their push. The Revival were one of the biggest acts on NXT, but their main roster experience soured them on the WWE. However, wrestlers like doing more than collecting a paycheck, so when the Revival made it known that they were unhappy, the WWE reportedly gave them a huge increase in salary to re-sign, and has handed the Raw Tag Team Championship to show their faith in them. However, when Vince McMahon wanted the Revival's Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder to sign a lucrative new deal with the company, rumoured to be around over $500,000 a year for each man, the Revival rejected it, leading to the WWE put them in humiliating angles such as being seen shaving each other's backs. The Revival's second Raw Tag Team Championship win suggests Vince McMahon still wants them around, and more importantly wants them to get them away from All Elite Wrestling. And number 5. Cesaro. Like the Revival, being one of Vince McMahon's supposed favourites hasn't always been easy for the Swiss Superman. After a singles career that didn't amount to much, McMahon paired him with his rival Sheamus, transforming them into a championship team with several tag titles to their credit. Fans may scoff at the idea that Cesaro is a McMahon favourite, but Cesaro seems to have impressed McMahon when he confronted the WWE chairman in 2014 after Vinnie Mac questioned Cesaro's desire to succeed. Cesaro told All Things Wrestling Radio, "The next day I walked into his office and said, 'Challenge accepted.' That's how I deal with things head on. I'd like to say I've been doing pretty good so far. Cesaro may not be world champion, but he seems entrenched in the WWE secondary championship world." But there you have it guys, wrestlers Vince McMahon has soured on for no reason, and others he wants to push. What do you think of the list? Let us know in the comments down below. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.